Maximize your potential and focus on your performance. Look into your future and power up your purpose. Power people, let's change our mindset, people. Let's empower people to see all their potential when they power up and make your official. Maximize your performance and focus on your potential. Look into your future and power up your purpose.
It's all you, Eric.
Okay. Welcome to the Power Up Show. Maximize your potential, where innovation meets transformation. And you have one goal. What's that, Cheryl?
That's to power up. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Sheryl.
And I'm your host, Eric. And we are excited to be here today on EM-Spire Magazine, DreamSpire TV with you today, because we would like to discuss something that's been on a lot of people's minds lately, and many of us are curious about. You know, with all the curveballs 2020 has thrown us, it has caused us to pivot and adjust our businesses just a little bit. We've had to think outside the box and come up with creative strategies, not only to grow our business, but to survive and stay afloat. We're going to have an opportunity to discuss the art of the pivot, what that means for entrepreneurs and businesses, and how it impacted the way we do business. And there are two sides to a pivot. While some people see it as an opportunity to adjust what's going on around us, it has been challenging for others, and we're here to discuss that today. But we've got so much more, don't we, Cheryl?
We do. Oh my gosh, you are in for an amazing show. So stay tuned, and we'll return after this commercial break.
Welcome back to the Power Up Show, Maximize Your Potential with Sheryl and Eric. Be sure to like us on Facebook, Power Up, Maximize Your Potential, and check out our tip of the week, our Power Up posts that include motivational tips and best practices to help you maximize your potential. You can also view the recent shows we have had with some amazing guests doing some outstanding things.
Eric, I have to say, speaking of amazing guests, we thought today it was going to be just you and I, but you know what? This is October, and October is Awareness Month for so many worthy organizations, and we're going to have representation of two of them today. We're going to talk with Miss Renee Wheeler. She is a member of the Ribbon Riders, and she is also a breast cancer survivor of 25 years. And we're going to hear her story and how the Ribbon Riders actually help individuals as they come through that journey and allow them to give them some stress-free, worry-free time. And then we're going to hear from Miss Shalonda Wagner, who is the founder of Latter House Décor. And Shalonda is a survivor of domestic violence, and she has done some incredible work to allow women, after they have come beyond their situation, to literally look at their new lives and have some happiness and have an opportunity to start again. So I am really excited about this. Now, earlier, you talked about how we discussed what I call the two faces of the pivot.
Right.
And how it's affected not only businesses, but individuals. And, you know, I had an opportunity to look at an industry, business breweries, beer breweries and distilleries. And, you know, when you think about distilleries and breweries, you know, whether they're small breweries or large breweries, their salaries go anywhere from $46,000 to $75,000 a year. And when this pandemic hit and people had to pivot, you know, there wasn't like they had this reserve. So they had to look at what does this business do for them now in today's society. And so they've had to change. They've had to, as you say, pivot, which I'm sure in 2021, the word pivot is going to be just excommunicated from the dictionary. We are no longer going to be able to use that word anymore because it's just going to bring up all these bad memories.
That's right. That's right. I know people get tired of hearing that phrase pivot too, right?
So, and you've shifted and started saying adjust. So they've had to adjust. But these breweries and craft distilleries, you know, there are our hospitality heroes. They selfishly stepped up to the cause, and they've shifted at a time when they were in imminent danger of going out of business. And they used their raw materials that they already had on hand, and they started making sanitizers, hand sanitizers, at a time when there were none. You would go to the shelves and they were gone. And, you know, we just didn't have enough hand sanitizers. And so they used the alcohol that they had, and they started using hand sanitizers, not only for their colleagues, but for first responders and the community. And I think that's an amazing mind shift. And I know you found something similar in the real estate industry.
Yeah, Cheryl. I mean, just think about what's going on right now. I mean, people are going about trying to go, throughout their daily lives. And, we have to make all these adjustments for professionals, entrepreneurs, all that. And the real estate industry is no exception. Let's be real here. The economy has taken a hit during this pandemic, but you know what's been booming? Seriously? It's been real estate. Home sales have been up 17.5% just last month in September, and from a year earlier, right? Isn't that crazy? This is the highest ever recorded for sales going up. And this is just according to Redfin, one of the most prominent real estate agencies that we have today. And the CEO says that in 2020, we'll be known for a lot of things. And a record-breaking year for real estate will certainly be one of its more important, unexpected legacies. Now, that was stated by Redfin, the chief economic officer, Daryl Fairweather. Demand typically abates in the summer and in the fall, but seasonal patterns don't stand a chance against the other factors. Especially this year. So home buyers, they're seeking spacious homes in areas outside big cities, and that's to accommodate the homeschooling and the remote work. I mean, how many people do you know are being homeschooled or working from home? I mean, everyone's doing that, right? And another thing is the reason why business is booming for real estate is because we have low mortgage rates and record low inventory. So it's creating a high price growth in the fastest market in recent years. So how are they adjusting to this? So instead of, some people may be thinking, well, how can you walk into a home and go through a home view? Well, they're doing it all remotely via Zoom, right? And they're carefully coordinating with their vendors and buyers and sellers to make sure that they can have access to view the houses and make sure that they can make the necessary updates and communicate that way. But the agents, they're also making themselves available at all times of the day to answer calls and answer questions and all the stuff from buyers and sellers. So they've adapted rather quickly, and this is probably one of the most successful years that they've had, all because they've had to adjust due to the pandemic.
That's so interesting, because you think about people that have been doing what they've been doing for years. And, we can talk about 10, 20, 30 years. And now you look at this time and you go, okay, what do we do? You can close, you can let your staff go, you can, make all of these things happen to the negative, or you can adjust, right? You can adjust, because when I think again about the breweries and the distilleries, they were able to keep their staff because of that adjustment, because of making hand sanitizers, they were able to keep their staff. And so, I think when businesses look at this as an opportunity, and then to see what can we now do with the resources that we already have, then it seems like it's a little easier to be able to make that pivot, right?
Yeah, Cheryl, you stole my thunder on that about the opportunity, right? They saw these agents, these companies, these entrepreneurs, they're looking at this problem, right? They're looking at this pandemic, and they're not immediately, reacting to it, but they're pivoting, and they're creating an opportunity to help other people while still staying employed and keeping their other staff employed as well. And that's exceptional. I mean, that's exactly what we need. We need people, creative thinkers and innovative thinkers, to be able to set different trends and help other people and definitely help improve the market.
Absolutely. And I've heard it said again and again, it is during times like this, like during the recession, when businesses are birthed, ideas are birthed, just because out of necessity, out of creativity, that things have happened. And even in our businesses, when we look at our businesses, I know for me, my job was to go into corporations and then to be able to have that interaction as I'm training, as I'm coaching, as I'm teaching. And now all of those presentations that had to be now created in a virtual world. How do we now make them still entertaining? How do we now allow them to be able to still retain the information and not just sit on a Zoom and go, yeah, here we go again. Right.
Well, you know what, Cheryl, I know we're going to go on a break real quick, but you just reminded me of one story I just want to share. I mean, because like you, I've had to do those adjustments. I've had to make these changes. I've had to pivot. And before COVID, when I was going in to do my keynotes, to do my training, I definitely relied on a lot of human interaction, the face-to-face connection. I observed people's body language. I was able to be there with them. I was able to meet them where they are. But now it's like, at times, I mean, it took me some time, but at the outset, I was completely vulnerable. I'm like, I got to do this on Zoom, and I got to make sure that I got to observe the chat room and navigate, and I got to make sure that my network connectivity is up. I mean, there was one time I was in the middle of a conversation and everything just stopped. And I was like, oh no, I had to go back on and try to recover. But there's so many different factors that we have to do to be able to pivot. And those are some great stories that you shared. So from the both of us, especially with what we see going on with our businesses, with what you're doing, Cheryl, and me. So wow, we've got a lot in common, more than I thought, Cheryl.
And I think that's the huge piece too, is that businesses have much more in common than they ever thought that they did. You might be in a different industry, but you still have those same issues of how do we move forward? How do we, maintain our staff? How do we keep revenue coming in the doors? How do we keep the lights on? How do we keep those things happening? And it is truly an opportunity if you look at it that way. And we've talked about, just two industries that have had to make that shift, but there are thousands. And guys, if you have those stories, please share them with us. Go on our Facebook page, Power Up, Maximize Your Potential, and share us your pivot story. Let's call it that, the pivot story.
Yes.
There you go. Share your pivot story with us so that we can share. And, people like to know that they're not the only ones. And if you haven't figured out how to pivot, just being able to see those stories, it's going to give you a light bulb effect.
Yeah, and inspiration too, right? Now, Cheryl, this is such a great discussion, and I know we're going to pause briefly for a quick break. So everyone here, don't go anywhere. Stay tuned, because you're going to hear more about this subject, about pivoting and what we can do to really overcome some of the challenges that's associated in this pandemic when it comes to pivoting and adjusting during these times.
Welcome back. Listen, we've been talking about the art of pivot, and I call it the two faces of the pivot. And we've talked a lot about the businesses and how they've literally taken what they do and have shifted it. But, Eric, there is that other face to the pivot, right? There's that individual, the employee, that person that is looking at, okay, how do we make the adjustment? What is it that we can do to ensure that we still have ability to, have jobs or create new jobs. And, two things that I'll share that I have been sharing with individuals is that, when you think about what's happening now, if you have the ability to do two things. Number one is to review your skills. What are the skills that you have and how are those skills transferable? So the other day I heard about the airline industry, and we know that's the latest industry that has taken a massive hit, has been the airline industry. And they shared the story of a flight attendant. And he said, look, this was my dream job. This is my dream job. I have been here for 10 years. I get to engage with individuals. I get to, travel the country, and now that's ended. And so now what do I do? And so that's when I say, you know what, look at your skills, because sometimes we allow ourselves to be pigeonholed into, this is what I've done for 10 years. This is what I can do. This is all I can do. And so I'm going to look for another job in that industry. And so when you think about that and you think about what's happening in the industry, that's not going to be a feasible plan. So what does it look like? And so it also has to take one other piece. So I said first is to review your skills. The second thing is to look at the mind shift change that has to happen. There has to be a mind shift, because you have to be able to say, I'm going to get through this. There's going to be some adjustments, but I know I can get through this. And so here's what I want you to do. I want you to take a sheet of paper, and on one side, I want you to write down the skills that you have that you've used for the last 10, 15 years on your job. I want you to write down all of those skills that you have had to use. And then on the other side, I want you to write down, how are those skills transferable? Because this is how you do a mind shift. You have to have something visual, because sometimes, it's just up here and, we're thinking about it, but we can't literally manifest what it means until we see it. So if you write it on paper, you have now given yourself an opportunity to say, wait a second, I do have an opportunity to transfer my skill sets into something else. And so those are the two things that I would suggest if you are that individual that has been furloughed, that individual that's looking at what happens to me now, is to sit down and think about how your skills are transferable.
Yeah, and Cheryl, I'm glad you brought that up too, because if you're able to write that down, that's going to not only motivate you, but it's going to give you clarity, right? It's going to help you focus on what it is that you need to do in order to get that job, in order to adjust. I mean, so many times people say, oh, well, I feel helpless, or they focus on things that they can't control. Well, this is something that you actually can control by adopting exactly what you just said. Now, one of the things that I like to share, and I hope everyone still, has something to write with, is about the virtual communication skills. I mean, several months under this pandemic, we have had to adjust our communication method to virtual, right? Whether it's on the phone, whether it's StreamYard, whether it's any kind of virtual platform, especially Zoom. Everyone talks about Zoom fatigue. But it doesn't mean just simply changing your communication style from in-person to any of these virtual platforms, because virtual communication, it can be problematic. And we can suffer from miscommunication, a breakdown of communication, and misunderstandings. And I think to mitigate these issues, you have to be proactive. I mean, think about it. How many times have you been the recipient of an email and someone said, you probably took it the wrong way. You said, you see how that person just won't have a good day? Were they being sarcastic? We can interpret so many things just by this virtual communication, because we can't observe that face-to-face, that body language. So in order to adapt to this and to mitigate these issues, you want to be a little bit more proactive. You want to be able to anticipate the need to present issues and updates to your peers or to your colleagues. Don't wait for them to ask status. Pick up the phone and initiate the conversation. Sometimes we may take that personal communication for granted, and we can be more passive. We can say things like, well, remind me when I see you in the office to bring this issue up, or remind me to talk to you about this, that, and the third, right? But we don't have that luxury anymore, right? And so we have to be able to initiate the conversation. And the thing is, not just initiating the conversation, we have to be able to provide more descriptive context about the situation. So that way, the audience, the person that you're talking to, has the adequate background and can make more informed decisions and take necessary action. So we need to be more proactive. We need to anticipate questions, and we need to be able to provide more context to our folks. So that way, it can mitigate any kind of misunderstandings and make sure that we keep moving forward, regardless of what you're working on.
You know, you're absolutely right. That communication has shifted for us. You know, how we communicate. You know, you're trying to look at multiple screens and you're seeing, 20, 30 people on the screen. And you're literally trying to read the faces. Yeah, they look interested. Well, I don't know about them. Well, they're smiling. Well, I can tell she's looking at her phone. Right. So you're trying to just monitor so many different things. And oh my gosh, I got to monitor the chat too, like you attested to earlier.
Right.
So, just being able to effectively communicate is really important now. So more than anything, because we don't have that luxury of seeing the person's face and, seeing them talking. And I get it. You're talking to somebody for 20 minutes. And if you turn to look out the window, they go, well, she's not paying attention. It's just that we don't look at people like that in face to face. And so we had a learning adjustment. There's been a learning adjustment in how we communicate virtually.
And the thing is, I think we're still learning. And for anyone here who's listening that thinks that, oh, we're going to go back, I can't wait till things get normal, we go back to normal. It's just not going to happen. I mean, there's going to be a new normal, obviously, and I think some people are familiar with that. But I mean, it's so real, and it's something that we need to get mentally prepared for. That this is a mindset, a mind shift, and we're just going to have to keep adapting to these changes.
Yeah, because it's still very fluid. And, it's so interesting when people go, I can't wait until, things get normal, or I can do this again. We're still so very fluid. And every day we hear that, this is going to go into 2021. I mean, that's the inevitable, right? This is going to go into 2021. So if you are, trying to remain stagnant, waiting for that day when they say, hey, we're all back to normal again, it's not going to happen, because we're now living in what I call a now normal, because it is still so very fluid. Yes. That it's now. What's happening right now is the normal for right now, because in an hour, it can change. And definitely by the time you wake up tomorrow, right, it is truly going to be some changes, that occur. So, I think this conversation is so poignant because it's not only about businesses that have had to shift, but people have had to shift. And if you haven't gotten to that point yet, then, stop doing what you're doing, sit down, and literally understand that you have to make some changes. Yeah. And what does that look like?
Yeah. And I think it starts with what you were just recommending everyone do. Write down on that piece of paper, get your skill sets, identify what it is, and get your mind right. Get your mind right and use your resources. But also check out our Facebook group, right? We'll be able to interact and provide some tips and advice to help you pivot, and you'll be able to see some of the stories from people, right? Like today.
Absolutely. And in all of this, that continued development, right? And that's the other thing is, as an individual, you were able to log into, trainings that were on site where you could develop your leadership skills, or you could develop, your critical thinking skills. And so now what does that look like? Because now you're remote. And so how do you continue to develop your skill sets? And so, yes, definitely connect with us, stay connected with us. We would love to help you. Just giving some suggestions. And our tip of the week is one of the things that we do to actually help you with that also. So
that's great.
Use the resources that are available. That's what it comes down to.
They're all available. That's right.
But you know what, Eric, in addition to, businesses having to pivot and individuals having to pivot, there's another group that, far often have gotten forgotten about during this time, because people are so concerned about themselves and what they're doing. And that's our nonprofit friends.
Right.
It's our friends that are in the nonprofit community, because for them, fundraising is huge. You know, fundraising is huge. And when we come back from this break, we're going to meet two of those individuals because this is October and this is Domestic Violence Month. This is Breast Cancer Month and this is Corporate Wellness Month. And so we're going to hear from a breast cancer survivor and we're going to hear from the founder of a domestic violence it's a domestic violence organization that she has just taken it to another level. And I'm so excited for her to share what she's doing as well as what the ribbon riders are doing. So guys, stay with us. Well, welcome back to the Power Up Show where you can maximize your potential. Eric and I have had a great time today sharing with you about businesses and individuals that have had to pivot. And now we want to share with you individuals that have also had to pivot, but in a different type of industry. And I want to bring on first Miss Renee Wheeler. Renee, I am going to bring you on as soon as I can get you in here. Hi. Oh, I'm sorry. I have her on mute.
She's on mute.
How are you, Renee?
Thank you for talking with me today. How are you?
We're doing great, and especially
Good.
having you here. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
Renee, you are absolutely. Renee is a breast cancer survivor for 25 years.
That's correct.
That is amazing. And you're going to share with us your journey in this. You're going to also share with us this organization that you belong to, because I am so excited about it because it's about motorcycles and I'm going to get me one day. That's on my bucket list. I'm going to get a trike bike though, because I can't make that turn. So I'm going to get a trike bike. So Renee, tell us about your experience in breast cancer.
All right. I was 43 when I was diagnosed. I come from a family of people who have been diagnosed with breast cancer. My mother at age 58, me at 43, and my sister at 43. We're both survivors, but my sister lost her battle. So I had a person who went through it before me, my mother. So that really, really helped me during the time. But that year I went out and bought all the Christmas presents I could, because you never know if you're going to be around for the next year. It's a challenge, and we do the best we can at one day at a time. And I'm thankful to be part of a group where we can help other people during that challenging time. And
you do. Renee, so when you were diagnosed with breast cancer, what did that sound like? What did it feel like for you?
Well, it's very frightening because you don't know really, what's going to happen. Like I said, that year I thought, every little thing that it was coming back, it's a very difficult time. And so, go ahead, Eric.
Oh, I was going to say, so you've been a survivor for 25 years, you said, correct?
Right.
So how was that year after year? I mean, do you still have that mindset that, it might come back, or have you managed that? Like, how do you deal with that?
I think when you get to 5 years, you feel abundantly blessed. Each year is a blessing. Each day is a blessing, no matter whether it's breast cancer or COVID, it's all a blessing.
Wow. And then Renee, you had another experience because you've had a mastectomy.
Yes.
And so tell us about that. Just when you looked at yourself, and you also had the experience of losing your hair. And so when you looked in the mirror, you literally saw a different person.
Absolutely. I'm a nurse, and in healthcare, we called it an altered body image. And it didn't really sink in until After the surgery, I wanted the cancer gone just as quickly as possible. And after the surgery, the nurse came in and ripped off that dressing, and it was exposed, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. The breast is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And then you also had a loss of hair. So you had, you were just a different looking person when you looked at yourself in the mirror.
Oh yeah, we went out and spent a lot of money on a wig that was very similar to my hair at the time. As I look back, that was a huge waste. We didn't even have the money at the time because as a nurse, I couldn't even work during the process. But you think your hair is short and your head is hurting, and all of a sudden one day the clumps of hair come out a handful at a time. You didn't realize you had that much hair. It's hard. That along with the cancer and the just the idea of having it is very hard. Chemo knocks you down, and then you have to build back up.
Wow. So Renee, so how do you share advice to people who have gone through, similar things that you have with being diagnosed with cancer? Like, what do you say to them? What advice do you give them?
The best thing you can do is do an early mammogram. Catch it early. If you are going to get cancer, you want to catch it early. And then also support groups. In the beginning, the support group was most helpful because in any support group, you find somebody off a lot worse than you. And sharing and caring is very, very important.
Wow.
And that is so much what the ribbon writers do.
We are a support group. We don't always talk about breast cancer, but we're a financial assistance. So we do immediate needs like your groceries, your utilities, your house payment, some of your co-pays, whatever they choose to use it for. But we've gone into homes that have no groceries, and we've gone into homes that are about to lose their housing. So we're thankful there's not a lot we can give, but it helps. It helps. It puts them at ease for a while because the whole thing of breast cancer is very overwhelming.
I can imagine. And Eric, now this is an astounding number. They've been around for about 12 years, and over that 12 years time, they've been able to raise more than $500,000 to help survivors. That blew me away when she told me that. Can you imagine how many people you've actually put at ease because of you? And before COVID, you had shared with me that you would literally take them the money so you could literally hand it to them and not mail it or have them pick it up somewhere, but you had that personal touch where you literally put it in their hands.
Absolutely. We enjoyed going as a group and giving them the money because you meet them, you actually see their struggle. It really, really helps. And we can share things. We can be a support to them. And then we always do a Christmas where we do gifts for children at Christmas time of a few families that are really struggling. It's just really, really awesome. Not everybody in the group is a survivor. You do not have to have a motorcycle to be in the group. At first, I did not have one. And now I do have a 3-wheel Can-Am. And it's pink. And it has my sister's name on it because she lost her battle.
Wow. Renee, that's so fascinating, and I think Cheryl's a little jealous with your motorcycle there.
And I'm 68. I still ride. I've ridden on
68.
the bike most of my life, but at 60, I got the bike and wanted to be my own person.
That's awesome.
And I have to say,
no, go ahead, Sheryl.
I was just going to say, this group you said started out with 7 of you, and now there's 25 members.
Well, we fluctuate, but approximately 25. Wow. And it started with a yard sale the first year and grew each year after year after year until the point that we were able, with so much assistance from the community and the events and money just generously given to us, to be able to give out that much money. And everything's nonprofit. If we want a T-shirt or if we want business cards or anything, we pay for that ourselves. Nothing comes out of the pocket. It all goes to the members, the people the recipients. That's the correct word. It goes to the recipients. So nobody's paid.
So Renee, how do people get in contact with you and your organization?
We have a website, ribbonwriters.org.
Awesome.
We also are on Facebook. If you have Facebook, it's very easy to find us on Facebook.
And we have a QR code. So you are looking at a QR code where you can literally take your phone, hold it up to the screen, and go directly to the Ribbon Writers website where you can make a donation, because you want donations, right? This is where we are. You need donations so that you can continue.
We love helping people.
Mm.
Yeah, we love it. And there are so many people out there in need.
Renee, thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you for the work that you guys do. Thank you for coming on and sharing with us. Guys, to get in touch with the Ribbon Writers, please go to their website. Again, the QR code that we're posting will take you directly there to ribbonwriters.com. You can make a donation, because the work that they do is tremendously helpful to the individuals, to give them that opportunity to take care of some household things, to be able to know that for a moment in time that there are things that they can accomplish where they don't have to worry about it. So Renee, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Eric, that's amazing.
Wow, so inspirational. She is, wow, that is incredible. That is so incredible.
That is amazing. And, because this is October again, as we stated, we do have another guest that's going to share with us from domestic violence. Her name is Shalonda Waggoner, and she is the founder of Latter House Décor. And I'm going to bring Shalonda on because I cannot tell you what she does in no better word than her telling her own story. So I am going to unmute her because I have her muted. There you go. Hello, ma'am. How are you?
Hey, everyone. I am good. How are you guys?
Doing great.
Yeah, awesome. Shalonda, thank you so much for joining us today. The organization, I met Shalonda, again, Eric, this is about relationships, right? I met Shalonda at our Navigate Her Leadership Conference, and she was the selected nonprofit of choice for our guest that we had on a previous show, Miss Zandra Evans. She has selected Latter House Décor to be her charity of choice. And so, Shalonda, just tell us about this organization, because I think this is something that people just have not heard of.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for this opportunity to come on and share about our design ministry, Latter House Décor. It was birthed out of my pain and became a passion. I was sitting in women's counseling, and I listened to all the women at that time talk about their domestic violence stories, and basically all of those stories were different. Mostly, there's verbal abuse, there's physical abuse, financial abuse, there's several types of abuse. But the thing that we all had in common was we were not able to take anything with us when we fled our abuser. There's no way that you can put a couch in a backpack, a dining table in a purse. You have to literally grab whatever you have, that you can just grab with your hands quickly for you and your children to get out. So I was sitting in women's counseling and I was listening to the women. I said, Lord, there's something I've got to do to be an agent of change. How can I help other women who will come behind me and help them with getting the restart, the refresh, the new lease on life? And he told me that I would go and decorate the homes of survivors of domestic violence at no cost, absolutely free. And this is my purple ribbon mission.
It's amazing. You have the ability to help a person feel okay once they have gotten out of that situation. Because I think for some people, it's, you leave someplace and let's just say it's beautifully decorated because you've spent years in this home and you've invested your passions and picking out the draperies and the colors and the carpentry, all of this stuff, and yet you leave and now you have nothing.
You have nothing. Yes, you literally have nothing. And the scripture that was birthed from this organization is Haggai 2:9, where it says the latter house will be greater than the former house. And in this place, I will provide peace. That is what Latter House Décor does. We go in and we give them words of life to look at on the walls for scriptures, anything that says you are beautiful or you can make it, you can begin again. When they walk into their new home, they were in a dark period before, several months before, but now they can see light. They can see hope. They can see color. When their children, when the survivors' children can wake up knowing that they slept on fresh sheets last night, a beautiful comforter set. We've even decorated the kids' rooms with Paw Patrol, all the cute little Disney characters. So when they look at their bedroom, they see, wow, oh my gosh, I can just come in and I can jump on this bed and not be afraid. I can, leave something on the floor for just a minute, Mom, just a minute. We want a clean room now. But they have things and toys that they can play with. And then even the mom, that is her sanctuary. Her bedroom is somewhere where she can go and lay down after she's experienced traumatic seasons. And sometimes it's not just one season, it's several seasons of abuse at night. And when she wakes up, she knew she feels refreshed that she was able to sleep all night long on a brand new mattress, brand new sheet sets, a beautiful comforter with pillows that she had lost because she had to get out. She had to save her life. She had to save her kids' lives.
Wow, that's amazing. Shalonda, I have a two-part question for you. In this COVID environment, have you noticed like an uptick in domestic violence issues? And if so, I mean, how has that impacted your organization? Like, are you able to keep up with the demand if that's the case?
Yes, with the impact of COVID, there has been an uptick in the number of cases because you can't go anywhere. Maybe the only place that a survivor can go is in a room, just by herself, and just go in there and just say, you know what, this is where I'm going to have a little bit of peace right now for the moment. That's the only place she can go. Some of them are not even able to go out to the front yard or the backyard because there's so much control there. So we know that through these different statistics and ratios that I have seen through the domestic violence agencies that we partner with, things have definitely just like you say, an uptick. And it has impacted our organization. Just by the beginning of the year, we only had maybe about 4 clients, 4 survivor families that we knew that we were going to work with for the first 4 months. Then COVID hit in March, and literally when things began to slowly open up, my interior decorator says we have 15 clients now. And I was like, 15 families? And I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, it's not like you really want to have 15 families, but we knew that those 15 families that we were going to bless with home decor and furnishings did not have to try to figure things out on their own.
Right.
Yeah, that is so important. So Shalonda, tell us, you said you partner with domestic violence shelters or organizations. How does that partnership happen?
Well, it happened with me walking in as a nervous one-person individual by myself one day back in 2015 and said, hi, I'm a survivor turned advocate. I would love to decorate your clients' homes when they transition. Would you believe in me? And the answer was yes. Sometimes you need one yes to know that it is your time. It is your season to move and to go and to, like you say, power up, to go and not, just be so afraid. And I was afraid, so I just did it afraid. So with partnering with those shelters, we partner with 3 in our community in Dallas and surrounding areas. And we say, hey, we love to decorate. Do you believe in our mission? You can look us up, check our website out, and we've decorated over 30 homes.
Wow. That is so remarkable.
And so you mentioned your website. So what's the website so that individuals can get to the website?
Yes, and that's Latter House. It's LATTER Decor.org. You log on to that website, hit the donate tab, and that's how you can donate monetarily. We also have a way for you if you want to donate decor and home furnishings. You just send us a quick email, and it's basically the same name as our organization, and that's latterhousedecor@gmail.com. And so if you have those items like sheets or comforters, a table, a couch, things that will bring a sense of normalcy back to a domestic violence survivor, that would be great.
And what you see now is this QR code that's on your screen where you'll have the ability to take your iPhone or your Android. You can scan the QR code and it's going to take you directly to the Latter House Decor's website where you can make a donation. Shalonda, I know you also said that you need donations for storage.
Yes, storage is really, really huge because we want to make sure that the home decor and furnishings that we get in from our donors stays safe and it's protected at all times. We do have a huge storage bill. It's just the reality of it because we needed bigger storage. We first started out in like a closet. So it is nothing but by the grace of God that he's a part of the expansion of our ministry. And with that expansion, it takes those monetary donations where people can literally say, hey, I want to donate $10 a month. Sometimes people do that on coffee at Starbucks, to be totally honest.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm guilty. I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
Where literally I'm like, oh my God, I am craving that Java chip Frappuccino. So if you could just put that off 1 week and just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to give back. Let me give back. And then next week, and then you get back on your Java chip.
I like that.
But just, we have a donate tab on our website that says if you want to become a monthly donor, no dollar amount is too small. That's what we love to emphasize because it can provide silverware. It can provide dishes. It can provide a rug. And most importantly, towels. Our survivor clients need towels to dry off with and to wash their faces with. So those things like that are very important even in the decor process. I literally, just to be honest with the viewers, I was frying fish with a plastic fork and knife when I first transitioned. So I didn't have silverware. So silverware is so very important, and you can get that for under $10 at your local Walmart and Ross and things like that. So please, if you find it on your heart to give to this worthy cause because it is a very underserved cause, and I am trying to do everything I can to bring more awareness, and I appreciate this opportunity.
Wow. That is amazing. That is, I hope you all listening to me. This is how you can donate to such a great cause, such a worthy cause. Thank you so much, Shalonda. This is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you all so much.
Absolutely. So guys, you have heard from Renee Waggoner from the the Ribbon Riders. I am my head is just so in awe. I really want to help. I want to help more. And so my head is spinning. Renee from the Ribbon Riders and Shalonda Waggoner from the Latter House Décor. This is an opportunity for you to truly give back. Shalonda, thank you so much for sharing your mission, for taking this to the next level. And things that we take for granted, like, I don't know, light bulbs, things that we take for granted every day is what you need.
Yep.
So thank you so much. We're going to make sure that we keep you on our Facebook page and that we keep you mentioned as we continue to move forward with our shows. We're going to make sure that we keep you in the view of individuals. So thank you so much for joining us, and you have an amazing day and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you all. I will. I appreciate y'all so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Wow. Today was action-packed today, Cheryl. We had some great speakers, huh? Some great guests.
Oh, my gosh. It was amazing. Just learning about the different organizations. And, being able to share what we do every day, which is to help businesses and individuals to truly power up and maximize their potential.
Right, right. I mean, I learned so much, and I'm glad we're going to have their information on our Facebook page, because I think a lot of people, are in need, and they can definitely take advantage of these services. I mean, this is a great way to really make your mark and to have an impact on what's going on today.
Absolutely. And so, gosh, Eric, I guess we got to go.
Yeah, I mean, I know we are over time, but man, this was great. I had a lot of fun today. I don't know about you, Sheryl, but today was great. Great day.
Guys, you have been watching Power Up, Maximize Your Potential. And listen, Eric and I need you to do a couple of things. We want you to, number one, follow us on Facebook. Power Up, Maximize Your Potential. You're going to see some of our shows. You're going to see all of our shows. You're going to see all of the amazing guests that we've had. Also, go to EM-Spire TV on YouTube, where you can actually witness some of these interviews also, as well as some of the other amazing platforms that fall under EM-Spire TV, EM-Spire Magazine. Eric, we are now the sponsors of what is called the Pitch Competition.
Yes, that's right. That's
we are
right.
the sponsors of the Pitch Competition. So definitely go to our Facebook page, get the information, because I hear there are more than $12,000 worth of prizes.
Wow, $12,000 worth of prizes. Oh man,
amazing!
That's a lot to get in. Yeah. I better step up and power up, because we got a lot of stuff in store, right?
Exactly. So definitely go there. Go to EM-Spire TV. Follow us on Instagram at EM-Spire TV. And oh my gosh, I don't think I left out anything. Definitely go to the LatterHouseDay.org. Go to ribbonwriters.org. Help out our nonprofit organizations. Even during this time of the pandemic, they are still in need, because there are people that are still in need.
Yes, absolutely. And this is how you power up. This is how you give back. This is how you make your mark during all these uncertain times. This is how you do it. So, this is the place where innovation meets transformation, and there's only one way to do that. And how's that, Sheryl?
That is to power up.
All right.
Have an amazing day.